Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today you are joining me in my M4, but this vid is not going to be anything to do with the M4 at all. This vid is all about the F90 M5 Competition pack, which will hopefully turn up soon, and we're going to be doing a kind of a review, impressions, whatever you might want to call it, on that F90 M5. It's going to be quite a good vid, so definitely stay tuned. Here we are. I'm now in the M5. I'm sat in the car because one, it's a little bit cold outside, and two, it's getting a bit dark, so I just thought I'll talk about the car from inside here. The car is finished off in Singapore grey. I think it looks absolutely fantastic in this colour. Let's just talk about the car from the front end. This is a 2019 pre-LCI car, as you can see from the front end. It has the pre-LCI lights. This is the M5 Competition, so it has all the black grills. Moving around the side of the car, it's got the 20-inch alloy wheels. They're wrapped in Michelin Pilot Sport 4S tyres. Definitely the tyre of choice on this car. It's got the carbon side skirts, and around the back end you've got the carbon rear spoiler and the carbon diffuser, finished off with the quad exhaust pipes, and I think the car just looks absolutely stunning. It also does have the carbon roof as well on this car, being the competition pack. Let's move on to the interior of the car. It is a highly spec'd M5. It's got an Alcantara steering wheel. It comes with soft closing doors. It's got Alcantara roof lining. The interior is finished off in Silverstone leather, which I think really lifts the interior of this car. From the rear end, it's got the LCI lights that are retrofitted, and I think those lights look absolutely amazing. So engine wise, this car from factory produces 620 horsepower and 750 newton meters of torque. This has got an Evolve Stage 1 map on it, which produces something like 720 horsepower. It's mated to an 8-speed ZF gearbox, and the power is put down onto the road through its MX drive system, which on the car with this power would have to have the X drive. So I'm really excited to see what this would feel like on the road, and that's what we're going to do now. But before we do that, let's hear some exhaust notes. So right off the bat, I think what BMW do really well in is these seats. You know, they're so comfortable, so much adjustment going on. You can really get comfortable in this, and the steering as well is direct. You know, even for a big car like this, although it's electric power steering, but when you've got it configured to, you know, your M mode, it does feel, you know, really responsive, and you can feel tires are communicating right through to the palm of your hands with the steering wheel. And you know, being Alcantara as well, you know, it's just got a real nice feel to it. So my first drive in this F90 M5, this is gonna just be an impressions vid, not gonna be a full-on review, and I'm just gonna kind of get a feel for what this car is all about. Obviously a lot of power in this car. This car does belong to my uncle, who has had quite a few fast cars. I mean, the S8, that's been a great feature for the channel. That was his last car that he had, in kind of big limo form. He has had like another F90 since then, and a 911 turbo, but let's just focus on this for now. I've driven like the new M3 or the M4, I think it was, the G82, and one thing that I didn't like in that car was the ZF gearbox. And obviously with BMW M cars now, they're all coming with the ZF gearbox, and I want to see how it features in this car, because is probably best suited to this car, and I'm just kind of thinking about that out loud just because of the type of car this is. The M3 and the M4, you know, they're a bit more kind of sporty, so a double clutch I personally think is best suited for those. Well, yeah, let's just see what it feels like in this car. I'm just in normal comfort mode. You get that V8 rumble that comes through. This car produces, with that Evolve Stage 1 map on it, in the region of about 1000 Newton meters of torque, which is plentiful. And it certainly, even in like normal comfort drive mode, it just feels, you know, quite engaging to drive. It's quite responsive, as you'd expect, you know, 700 odd horsepower, but you know, the car does weigh near on 2 tons as well. So let's see how that all works. I'm just stuck behind a 4x4 on these country lanes, eh? I think what really makes, you know, an M car quite special is the level of kit that it comes with, and this car has a lot of optional equipment that makes this a real nice place to be in. You know, even as a daily, you know, you got all the, you know, kind of ambient lighting going off, as you can probably see here, more so than what you can see me in, because obviously the light's getting a bit dark out there. But personally, I really think that, you know, this has got that luxury feel to it. It does come out of a corner quite well when you just put your foot down. It gets down the road quite well, and I think what I like is that you've got a head-up display which is very clear. I'm not going to put the car into any M mode just yet, just want to get a feel for it. I think the ZF gearbox in this, even in comfort mode at its slackest ferocity, I think it feels pretty good. Pretty much what you'd expect it to do, really. I mean, it's a ZF gearbox is pretty good anyway, you know, in most applications. The impression I'm getting, it's quite well suited. Now, if that was my M4, that would be sliding around quite a bit. And what I like about this car here is that with the MX drive system, it's switchable. So on a day like today, where the roads are a little bit greasy, you stick it into the X drive, and when the roads are dry and you want to have a bit of fun, you can, you know, just switch it into rear wheel drive and get the back end and have plenty of fun. And obviously, you know, best do that on, like, say, a track rather than on public roads, but at least you have that option, which, you know, is pretty good. Like my M4 now, I'm not going to drive that in the winter because of the road conditions, whereas this, you can drive this as a daily in all weather conditions. That's the beauty of, like, say, this M5. So I've just put the car into its M mode. It's kind of its full attack mode, and the head-up display changes obviously, and so does the sound, and so does the performance, and so does the way the car just handles.
Feels so much faster than the S8.
Yeah, it definitely feels faster than the S8. It's got like a proper split personality. As soon as you put it into the M mode, it just feels more lively. Like, you can actually feel the car rotating a little.
Jekyll and Hyde.
Yeah, Jekyll and Hyde. Exactly that. Obviously, being the competition pack, you've got the active exhaust as well. So I'm just going to put the car into manual mode because that's how I like to drive it. You got the overruns. Thing is a jet, you know.
It's rapid. It's only a stage 1.
Stage 1.
Only a stage 1.
Back some hybrids on it. And it corners fairly flat as well.
The size of it,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
For the size of it. I mean, I thought your S8 handled quite well, but that in comparison is a bit of a barge, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
This thing is like a rocket ship. You can easily get up to, like, say, road speeds very quickly. I mean, 0 to 60 in this as stock form is quite impressive. It's in the 3s.
The previous owner, he done it on a draggy,
Yeah.
and he got 2.8 seconds.
On this one?
Yeah, 2.8 seconds 0 to 60.
Wow.
And that was a very slightly uphill, very slight. And also he done a quarter mile, 10.6 seconds.
Favorite road?
This one.
Yeah, just because of those noises. You know, even though this is a ZF gearbox, right? This, and I definitely do prefer the double clutch in my M4, but that is suited to that car. I think in this, I think the ZF makes sense, because if you come out of the M button now, like out of the M mode, like that now, the car just quietens down. The ZF gearbox is a very smooth gearbox. You can't feel any jerkiness in it, and that's what it does best. When it's in its full attack mode, into its M mode, it seems to be, you know, quite responsive, and it must be the mapping on this car. I mean, when I drove the G82 M4, I wasn't really impressed with that ZF gearbox. It felt like the revs took ages to climb in that car, whereas in this it feels a lot more responsive. Maybe it's because it's mated to like that V8 engine, isn't it? So, and even on kickdown, it feels quite responsive, even in normal drive mode. So yeah, I think overall, I think this car, you know, it makes a lot of sense for what it is. You know, it's that Autobahn cruiser. You know, you can just drive comfortably in it. It's got that Jekyll and Hyde personality, and when you have got it in its full attack mode, you know, the car does come alive, and it feels a lot, you know, responsive. And on top of that, I think it doesn't feel like a big car to drive on a daily basis, you know, with this kind of performance. And I think what I really like about it is that you've got the switchable four-wheel drive system, where if you want to have a lot of fun, you can just go ahead and, you know, put it into rear-wheel drive mode. The car has been lowered on, again, Evolve MSS springs, which I think are doing a great job.
Yeah, adjustable springs as well, so you can obviously...
Right, you can drop it further as well.
Right, yeah. Well, it's on the lowest point. I've got it on the lowest point.
Right.
You can raise it if need be, but this height is perfect for me, just right. It doesn't catch on any of the ramps. So
no, you're absolutely right, because I mean, if this is the lowest point, you know, it doesn't feel like a crashy ride. Did you buy it like this, or was it...
No, the previous owner, Lee from Aylesbury, very nice chap. He part exchanged this in for an RS7. I seen it for sale, even though I had an F90 M5 Competition before this one, but it never had the spec, even the standard spec what this one had. When I saw this one, obviously he had the Evolve Stage 1 remap on there, he had the Alcantara steering on there, he had the soft closed doors, massage seats, BMW front and rear dash cams, he had the front PPF done by Yanamize, he had it ceramic coated, he had the calipers professionally done in red. When I worked out the money that he spent roughly about £11,000 in less than no whatever, like £11,000 in less than a year. So when I weighed it all up, I thought, you know what, this car makes sense, because all the things that he had done are the things that someone like myself would want to get done as well.
Yeah.
Best thing to top it all off was I found Lee, I think it was on Instagram, just by chance, while I was deciding to whether to go for this car or not. He gave me all the information of all the work that he had carried out. He sent me receipts via WhatsApp, email, etc., which gave me the confidence to know what this car is the one. And when I went to see it, it sure didn't let me down, and it was as good as I thought. And big respect to Lee Kindle.
Here we go, we're giving the previous owner a shout out.
Yeah. Very nice guy, very nice guy.
But I must say, like, you know, from like an ultimate driving machine perspective, now when BMW use that strapline, you know, regardless of, like, say, them using it on like a 320 diesel or to whatever car, in my opinion, it actually suits an M car, because that's where it's at. Yes, a 320 diesel or whatever it might be will drive better than any equivalent of the type.
Yeah.
But having owned, like, say, an M car, you know, I can really appreciate that when you are driving an M car, it really doesn't feel like there's any, like, reserve, one, of power, and two, of the way the car actually handles, and just like throwing it around these S-bends straight out of the box, it's like, you know, set up correctly. yes, you know, you can obviously enhance it, you know, make it better.
Like you just mentioned, it's set up correctly, and then just to add the MSS and just for springs, Michelin Pilot 4S tyres, it just sets it all off.
Absolutely.
You can't really go wrong.
Yeah. So on that note, guys, I think, you know, from an impressions point, hugely impressed with, like, say, the M5. I mean, it's an M5. It's like, you know, BMW's bread and butter when it comes to M cars and whatnot. And you know, hopefully you've enjoyed this vid. Give it a like, share, subscribe. I'm hugely impressed with like an M5. And hopefully, guys, you know, who knows, you might see me on another vid where I go and collect my own M5 in the future. Who knows?
I hope so, because you always wanted a V8, so I'm waiting for that day.
Yeah, that's it. Anyway, guys, I'll see you on the next one.
Peace.
Take care. Bye.